Hey guys, subscribe for daily content, and if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks!
What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got another interesting knife review / knife overview to share with you guys. This is the Berg Blades Iron Pup, which has been around for a long time, and I'm super late to the game when it comes to reviewing this guy, but I just never got a chance to take a look at it, and thanks to Dirk, not Dirk Warning from YouTube, a different Dirk, thanks to him for sending this in, I'm able to talk about it today. So yeah, this is still available. There are still Iron Pups floating around out there at various retailers. I'll try and link one down below if I can, but if not, you can go to, I know Fanatic Edge still has a whole bunch of, if you're watching this at the time of its, the date on the video, Fanatic Edge still has a whole bunch of interesting custom variants of this, so I invite you to check it out. Thanks so much to my generous patrons who are supporting me right now. There's a link for Patreon right down below, and please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. Okay. Let's go ahead and get a measurement here real quick. Overall length of the Iron Pup, not a huge knife, definitely a smaller guy, coming in at about 6 3/4 inches overall. Blade length is coming in, gosh, you know what? It's under 3 inches, so that's great. If you live in an area with a 3-inch blade law, rejoice. 2.65 inches on the cutting edge, something like that. So there you go. How about some size comparisons up against the Ontario Rat Model 1 and the Ontario Rat Model 2? Much closer to the size of the Rat 2, but it is shorter, so keep that in mind. How about up against the Spyderco PM2 and the Para 3? Close to the size of the Para 3, but again, much smaller. I think this is a smaller knife than I thought it would be, and I'm sure it's a smaller knife than some of the people watching right now. You might be surprised. Might be surprised at the size. There you go, up against the Benchmade Griptilianer, in this case the Ritter Hogue, and the Bug Out. Definitely smaller. How about carry profile? Let's go ahead and put it up against the Spyderco Para 3. Thickness. It's a little bit thicker than the Para 3. This kind of has a little bit of a tanky feel, but some of that is mitigated by the fact that these scales are contoured, which gives it a better feeling in the hand versus other knives of the same dimensions that are not contoured. So there you go. It is a little bit thicker. Keep that in mind, but it's not too bad. Length and height up against the PM2 and Para 3. You can see here, nowhere near as long and nowhere near as tall. So it is saving it. I would say I noticed the Para 3 more in the pocket than this guy, despite the fact that it is a little bit thicker. Let's take a look at the inside. Where's my flashlight? There it is. Inside of this knife is, this particular one is titanium and micarta. You can see here that we're not really looking at any milling in there. There are a bunch of different variants of this, like, especially if you look at the ones on Fanatic Edge, they've got different finishes on the blade. There's different finishes for the titanium. There's different inlay materials, right? Lots of different colors all over the place. This one sporting a dark stonewashed frame with an OD green G10 inlay and the same finish on the blade as the frame. So there you go. Hardware check. Let me get out my tools here real quick. As per usual, my tools are very inexpensive and very recommendable. You can find them right down in my description in the section that says My Tools. Here we go. Okay, pivot, I am almost certain is a T8. Yep, and then I'm not going to check these screws back here. They are T6, I can tell. But it's minimal. So there's not a lot of hardware, and it's a simple frame lock. Or, well, yeah, it's a frame lock. Sorry, sometimes with the inlays you see a bolster lock. Yeah, not going to be difficult to take apart. So there you go. Just make sure you've got some good tools and you're good to go. Weight on this guy. It's one thing I always forget about. Or almost forget about. I'm going to guess this weighs something like 3.5 ounces. Yeah, you have to take my word for it, I guess. 3.56 ounces on this guy. Not bad. Ratios are a bit off if you subscribe to the whole ounce and inch thing, right? But this is still a 3.5 ounce object. It's just not going to be difficult for me, right? But, do with that information what you will. We also need to measure blade stock thickness, so let's do that real quick. I'm going to guess this guy comes in at about 135 thousandths. Nope, way more than that, 154 thousandths. It's hard to guess sometimes, with just visually guessing on the dimensions. Let's do it again. 155 thousandths on that blade stock. Oh, it's a thick blade. Kind of surprising. All right. Let's move into the review. This is a good looking knife. This is a smaller, so they had another one called the Iron Wolf. And after looking at the Iron Wolf, I was thinking, that's the one that I kind of want. And then they discontinued it. And apparently they discontinued the larger guy a long time ago. Now, some people are going to want a larger knife. Some people are going to want a smaller knife. This is great for people who want the smaller one. But let me say this early on in the review. Bring back the Iron Wolf. Oh my gosh. There's a lot of things about this knife that I'm going to critique. And it's just for me preferring a larger knife, you know, it's just my preferences. I mean, truthfully, there's not a lot that I'm not going to be like, if it was bigger, it would fix it. No, I mean, there's benefits to carrying a smaller knife, but can we bring back the Iron Wolf for people who like how this looks and they just want the bigger one? Like, the Iron Wolf looks awesome. I'd like to handle that, you know? I think it would be great if they brought that back, but okay. Iron Pup, that's what's available right now. Ergonomically, it's kind of surprisingly comfortable, you know, and it's because this area in here is all pretty open up to the, where the blade starts. And I wouldn't call this area specifically a choil, but you can sort of rest your index finger right here safely behind the blade, and it's pretty comfortable. The pocket clip is also flat, which means, while I'm aware that it's there, it's not really like a hot spot. If you choke back, like if I do this, put my index finger right here, my pinky's kind of falling off the edge. So if you grip it just like this, it's not ideal. It's not hand melting ergonomics, but you can absolutely get a full grip on it, and it's decently comfortable. The edges are all nicely knocked down, and there's contouring, and there's a lot of material here. So yeah. Deployment. As you can see many times in this video already, I have gone to kick that thumb stud out and missed it. Part of it is because it's a smaller knife, and I'm searching for the right position to put my hand, because I want to hold it like this and then get my thumb right here, and I miss because I don't have enough leverage. So I have to reposition and get lower to be able to deploy it. If you have smaller hands, you might not have as much of an issue. It's actually easier for me to do the reverse flick on this guy than it is the thumb, because this finger is lower on my hand than my thumb is. So it's more natural for me to just pick this knife up and do the reverse flick. I miss it sometimes with the thumb stud because I just don't have it back enough to get the appropriate amount of power, right? So I miss it. Thumb stud is basically just a cylinder with a bevel at the top, right? So it's not uncomfortable. You just it's smaller, so you have to reposition your hand sometimes to get the right amount of leverage. That's all I'm saying there. But deployment is good. The detent is good. Give you guys a look. Click, right? It's also nice and smooth. Very, very smooth. Happy with that. Who makes this? Made by We Knives, as far as I can tell. Just general search on the internet. Lots of different retailers list We Knives as the collaboration OEM for this knife. So that makes sense to me. Just taking a look at the pivot and the hardware and just feeling the quality of it. Yeah, feels like a We Knife. Feels pretty darn good. The inlay work on this is beautiful. They just look at that. They nailed it. No ugly seams or anything. It's just perfect. Gorgeous. I love that. I like the little pivot collar. Fanatic Edge makes good use of that when they have the custom variants, right? They can add a little contrast to the whatever the inlay material is behind it. So that's cool. What else can I say about the handle here? Oh, I do like it when they add these little cutouts in here, right? It makes it a lot easier, especially when we don't have this area cut out lower than the lock side. It gives you extra space to get your thumb in there, so you can still sort of approach it from the side. I don't like having to push my finger down and then over, right? This gives you enough space to still approach it from the side without having that scallop on this side. Though I will say this. I think they should have gone ahead and scalloped it and just given me more room over here to get in behind that thumb stud. That might have helped with, maybe, not having to reposition and get lower just because it's a smaller knife. I don't know. Maybe. That's it. But they didn't, and it looks really good. Speaking of looking really good, this knife looks really good. There was a better way to do that dialogue. Yeah, this is nice. I mean, it's straight. I mean, it's just kind of knife profile, right? But it's handsome. This is a good-looking knife. I really like it. There's a flat on the blade that carries out about 85%, maybe 80%, offering some very heavy robustness out to the tip. This is definitely not a blade that I would fear anything would happen to. sometimes looking at the blade, I get the sense that it has a recurve, and then looking at it this way, it's like, does it? Maybe ever so slight. I'm not 100% certain that that's intentional. It looks pretty straight. I don't know what's happening there but yeah, my eye tells me that there's a slight recurve there, but maybe not. Maybe I'm just crazy. I don't think it's an intentional recurve. Nice swedge up here. That looks good. Blade looks very straightforward. There's some jimping back here that extends pretty far out, so I'm appreciative of that. Edges up on the blade, or corners nicely knocked down. The only sharp part is the edge, as it should be. Down behind the edge, I'm not going to tell you guys it's incredibly thin. But it's thin enough to cut and slice, right? Is this? This is a hollow ground blade. So it does get thinner than you might. I didn't actually know that until just now. It does get thinner than you might expect, but you're still going to be pushing a 155 thousandths wedge of steel through whatever you're cutting. So thick cardboard, not going to be super fun. Making a quick slice into a package or something like that, yeah, it'll do it, right? It's not an open L, but it'll do it, definitely. The edge is also done nicely. This is a wee knife, right? Fit and finish quality, it's all there. Oh no, there's no lanyard hole. Oh no, moving on. The pocket clip, for whatever reason, is not prioritized over this screw. Why? That's so weird. I mean, so look at this. That's a lot of knives sticking up at it. This is honestly, this is a shallow carry, like right at the beginning of what I'd call shallow carry. Way too much of this knife is sticking up out of your pocket. I know that this is only like 1/4 of an inch, but that makes a huge difference for pocket depth. Now, I'm not saying the deeper that a knife carries, the better that it is. What I'm saying is it would mitigate that and make it more of a medium carry depth knife, which is what I prefer. I don't need it to be ultra deep, but I don't want my knives to be shallow carry. Well, if you're concerned with self-defense, the shallow carry actually, yeah, I'm not concerned with that. I don't need to be that ready, right? And like, for me, it's like, I need to be ready to like open a bag of something slippery, right? Or just make a quick cut on a zip tie or something stupid like that. So a medium depth matters to me. I don't want all of this knife hanging up out of my pocket, especially a knife that's so short, right? That's weird. This screw should have been placed anywhere else, and the pocket clip should be higher. But it isn't. It's not a deal breaker. It's just kind of annoying. The pocket clip, other than that, is actually, it looks really good with the knife. It's simple, but it goes with the rest of the knife. The lines follow it. And you have this nice rounded, this is perfect. How they round this, and then it's a continuous ramp. So in and out of the pocket on top of this smooth, also contoured surface. Well, I say also contoured. The pocket clip's not contoured, but this rounded surface right here. This is nice. In and out of the pocket is super easy, right? I think the pocket clip should have been taller and perhaps a teeny tiny little bit shorter, but it's flat. So really, you're not noticing it too much. You're going to know that it's there, but it's not like, ow, you know. Centering on this guy. I believe that's almost exactly right down the middle by the tip, right? If you're looking right at the tip, it is centered. Yeah, it looks good to me. Where's the stop pin? It is internal and it's fixed in place. Can we get the light to show? Yeah, can you see the bar right there? So, there you go. That's a nice way to do that. No issues. Lockup coming in at about 20%. No blade play at all. Up, down, left to right. Geometry's good there. Very smooth. Good action. It's great. So, corks, little things that's going to bother people. It's kind of small. If you really like smaller knives, you have smaller hands, or if you're limited by the laws in your area, then this, you might be like, I don't care, right? For me, though, it's kind of small. It's also a little bit thick. You know, again, that's mitigated by the fact that it's contoured. So, that's okay. Deployment, again, it's a little bit awkward when you're using a thumb because I'm finding I have to reposition a little bit. And it's, honestly, guys, you'll adapt to it. As is the case with everything. Like if this was all of a sudden your only knife, you're going to adapt to it. But it's just, I'm used to a larger knife. I'm used to having more space when I grab it, the natural position. I'm just further behind the thumb stud to start with, right? But once you get it, it's fine. The action's good. Pretty thick blade stock, despite it having, you know, a hollow grind. 155 thousandths, wow. But it's, I mean, some people are like, I don't care. I just like a chunky knife, right? Yeah, the pocket clip should not be that shallow. That screw should be placed literally anywhere else. So the pocket clip can allow this knife to carry a little bit deeper. What's the price on this? Base price is $200. I've seen old listings at $265, so perhaps there are a few floating around out there for $265. Most consistent base price that I'm seeing right now is about $285. They do definitely go higher than that, especially if you look at Fanatic Edge's website where they have some like interesting custom variants. I've seen them as high as $400, but those have a lot of work in them, right? Do I think $285 is fair for this? Yeah, I do. This is a nice knife, right? There's a lot of other stuff out there that you can get, titanium and 20CV and M390 and all that. And, you know, you can, and it'll be a little bit less money. But this is a nice knife, and the inlay work is really, really good, right? So it's not the best priced knife in the entire world, but I mean, as far as like the competition out there and what you're actually getting with this knife, yeah, if you like a smaller knife, right? If you don't like a smaller knife, right? If you're somebody who's like, can't spend money on small object, only big object, mean big money, right? If that's the kind of person you are, that's what you sound like, by the way. Because, and the reason I make that joke is because the size of the object has almost nothing to do with the final price, right? Those are preferences is what you're describing there. It's a preference, right? So the value may not be there for you. If you don't like a smaller knife, obviously this isn't going to work for you, right? But I suppose, you know, type me up your paragraph anyway, and I will read, I don't know, the first couple of words. I'm so salty with that thing. Yeah, so, I mean, to back up, to change gears here and to, you know, get alongside those people who are complaining about it being too small, I would actually like the Iron Wolf to come back. In fact, if the Iron Wolf came back tomorrow and it was exactly this, but they went 8 1/4 inches, I would buy it without even having handled it first. I would buy it immediately. That's how much I want this exact same thing. By the way, I just realized we didn't talk about it. It has a lock bar insert. It doubles as the over treble stop. Sometimes I forget that, right? I think it's because I just expect it. I would buy the Iron Wolf in a heartbeat. Berg blades, bring back the Iron Wolf. I feel like that didn't get a chance. Like people were like, oh, neat, but man, really, the Iron Wolf would just be excellent. This is good. I'm going to recommend it, but I want that Iron Wolf, right? Oh, I missed it again. Okay, guys, that's going to be pretty much it. Like I said, I will try to find a link. If not, you can check out some of the retailers that I listed in the review. Thank you so much, Dirk, for sending this in for review. This was a fun one. I'm glad I finally got a chance to look at it. Yeah, I said the whole thing. Okay. Anyways, be sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.